Good morning. Here's hoping today is a great day for you. My name is Jerry Crispin. My company is Career Crossroads, and while I'm working with staffing leaders from competitive corporations throughout the world, my passion is to learn all I can about the playing fields where candidates and employers meet, how job seekers game their next career move, and how employers tout their latest opportunities. My goal is to influence new and evolving staffing models that aspire to be world-class, and to do that, I'm always on the lookout for stories about staffing challenges, benchmarks, and results, as well as the people who live the stories they tell. Maybe you have a story for me. This is the second in a series of 5-minute tips on what it takes to excel in managing your career. Getting a job, getting better at what you love to do, or simply exploring what comes next in the adventure we're all on. The title of this tip is about researching your target companies. Be proactive. Now, years ago, it was very difficult to research firms. Today, it's a snap. And while there's hundreds of ways that we could talk about better researching the firms that you're interested in, I really want to cover only 2 areas that I think are fundamental. The first is using social networks to your advantage, and the second is researching the staffing pages on the company's websites of the firms you target. The first, the social networks, really has to do with the finding and connecting to people on the lists of companies you target. The second, the company websites, is really much more content-oriented, and it's understanding, though, the experience that that company intends to provide so that you can use it in future interviews. Ideally, you want to research target companies before you meet their representatives, but sometimes that's just not possible. You may be in a job fair, for example, and just finding out that a company that you had never heard of before is a likely target. So for you, you may be researching for follow-up, but before or after, research is critical. So let's talk about social networks first. Most of you should probably be involved, or at least knowledgeable, about LinkedIn, MySpace, Facebook, as well as many smaller closed applications that are popping up literally everywhere. I know, for example, that many university alumni associations are developing their own social networks. You should look into them if you haven't, and you should experiment with them because they do offer significant tools to easily do the kind of research we're talking about. But to really improve your chances of getting up to bat and getting the job, you should focus on one goal in your use of those social networks, and that is to find people with an affinity you share who work currently in the company that you've targeted and who also have various connections. So, for example, the person is not only in that company that you would like to have an interview with, but they also went to the school that you went to, or they once worked for the company that you used to work for, or they live in the same neighborhood as you do, or they volunteer for the same community organizations, or belong to the same social, religious, or professional organizations. When you start to think about it, you have many areas where you have an affinity, and it's combining that affinity and an individual works in that company that's critical. Because your goal, after finding these individuals and connecting to them directly or via friends, is first to confirm that what you know about their company is what they also know to be true. And then to get them to consider being your employee referral. It's getting the employee referral that is the critical goal. And I'll speak more to that on a future tip. The second area is to research and examine the staffing pages of the companies you are interested in with an eye to their candidate experience. So let me give you, 3 or 4 different kinds of things on this list to look for. When you go to a company website and you click on careers or staffing or employment, whatever it might be, and it may be way up there in the main navigation bar or maybe at the very bottom of the corporate home page. However you get there, here are some things to look for. First, do you recognize people like yourself on these pages? Is the company emphasizing jobs that you want? Are there profiles of people who came from your school or who in some other way are like you? 2, is there a clear message about why people come and stay at this firm? About 55% of the companies that project themselves onto the internet have no clear message. You really want to look for companies that have this kind of a clear message. These are the core values of the company, the values that they espouse, and they are reasons that you might buy into them. Do you believe their message is true? This is the third. Do you believe their message is true? Is there ample evidence, facts, data, stories that prove their assertion about why people come and stay? If the company claims to be green, for example, are they showing how they are leading the way, or are they simply jumping on the bandwagon to look good? You have to make a critical assessment here in terms of the quality of the evidence. And 4, is it clear to you that what they do not look for is as clear as what they do look for? Does it sound like everyone could make a case for working there? Do they really know what they want? And are you it? These are critical issues. If you find that the messages they are sending are consistent and clear, then the ball is now in your court to think of examples in your life that reflect what they value. You're going to be able to use these words in your discussions and your follow-up. Have a great day.